Hello, friends from Roundtable International and the RTI University. Thank you for joining in for this wonderful talk show, part of the series Grow Your Table. Today's subject is going to be on international travel in tabling and circling. Yes, friends, today is a side-by-side event. We are also joined by two beautiful circlers by our side. Friends, we as Roundtable International University have always brought to you experiences from tablers, circlers, family members that will help you know the organization better and make best use of it. Today, we have with us Susie Wall from LC Austria, Barbara Van den Bosch from LC Belgium, Abby from RT India, and Romain Pottery from RT France. We have a dedicated Q&A section towards the end of the program, and I request you to please place your questions in the Facebook chat and we'll pick it up from there and try best to answer them. We are also joined by our dashing RTI secretary, Mr. Nadine Kumarasinghe, and I will now request him to please address us.
Thank you, Sachin. Thank you very much. First of all, congratulations to you and RTI University for putting this show together. And we have four great personalities, four good friends of mine covering many regions of the Roundtable and Lady Circle world, about to talk about their experiences in travel. As we all know, traveling is an integral part of tabling and circling. And as we always say, this is something which needs to be experienced. It is not something which could be taught in a manual. So if Roundtable and if Lady Circle is all about experiencing, in my opinion, good 50, 60, 70% of it is with traveling. And we always have this saying meeting a friend you've never met before. So it is true in the true sense of the word that this does happen in the world of Roundtable and Lady Circle. So the objective of this show is to talk about some amazing experiences, of course, in a very family-friendly manner with Susie, Barbara, Abby, and Romain. And of course, to inspire the younger tablers and younger circlers who may have not traveled before, or who may have probably traveled once and probably thinking about, hey, should I do that again? To get thinking about it. And hopefully, our wonderful panelists will inspire hundreds and thousands of newer tablers and circlers to start traveling. And the moment that travel bug bites you, there's no turning back. So over to you, and thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks a lot, Nadine, for those inspiring words. I would now like to, begin by introducing with us Barbara. Barbara is a member of LC Hall, senior manager at Ernst & Young, married to a tabler, Mr. Cohen, and a circler since 15-16. She has served on the national board as secretary, vice president, president, and IPP. And she loves traveling. I mean, she has traveled to so many AGMs of Luxembourg, Germany, RTBI, Austria, Netherlands. She's been a convener for an AGM of LC Belgium, which was also a side-by-side event, and only for the second time in history, which is her greatest achievement. And she's also accompanied by Nala, and who's also joined us in the meeting, the mascot for the World Meet at South Africa. So welcome, Barbara, to this talk show. We also would have with us Susie Wall, who is from RT Austria, from LC Leuven Salzburg, and who is the president. She has served as vice president of her circle. She's been a past president of LC Austria. She's been president, vice president, treasurer, served in all kinds of roles, married with 3 kids. and a wonderful host. Anyone traveling to Austria, and she lives in the wonderful city of Salzburg, famous for the sound of music. So welcome, Susie, to this wonderful talk show. We are also joined by Romain Pottery from RT France. Romain inducted 10 years ago in his club number 78, the northern part of France. And he's occupied almost all the roles in tabling, and except being the president. And he was the vice president when COVID started. He's also been the area editor for 2 years, and also elected as a national IRO, and has another year to go in tabling. That's quite a time. He's visited 25 countries in the tabling world. Wow, that's something. An amazing experience I'm sure you'll have to share to all of us. Thanks, Romain, for joining this wonderful talk show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now, last but not the least, we have with us Mr. Abby from RT India. Abby started tabling in 2008. He started international travel from 2015. He's done the Euro meeting 4 times, Dutch cycling tours. He's done a 9-country backpack, being home hosted at tables across countries, and hosted the ASPA meet in Calcutta, hosted YAPS, NNBS, numerous guests at home, had organized a 3-nation cricket tournament in Sri Lanka, been an area secretary, treasurer, area chairman, and we have lots and lots to hear from you about your rich experience in tabling and more specifically international travel. So, Abby, great to have you here, and really honored, and that you've also won the Pink Bunny Award, which is also marks that you are an amazing traveler.
Thank you.
So my first question to start with, can I add? Yes, to Susie is, how early, did the idea of circling excite you?
First of all, thank you very much for that lovely introduction, and also a very warm welcome from Austria. It's a pleasure for me to be here with you. Yeah, how early did that start? Lady Circle and the Roundtable family have always been part of my life, because my dad was a founding member of a local table in Austria. By now, he's an active part of Club 41, and my mom was also a member of Lady Circle 3 in Austria. And so it was just a matter of time that I experienced traveling in the Roundtable family in the YAP tours. And I stayed with the Young Ambassador program, the YAP, in India, and I did a second one to South Africa. And sure enough, after all these experiences, I wanted to join Lady Circle. And yeah, that's what I did. I became a founding member, a charter member of Lady Circle 10 in Linz. Then I moved to 11 in Salzburg, and the great journey of being a circler started for me. And we lived the international friendship so many times together. And for me, that's the reason why I'm so on fire for our association.
That is amazing. I mean, you've seen childhood tabling right from your childhood with parents. I think that's really about it, where we call ourselves as a family organization. So your family has really lived it in true spirit. So really great to know that. My next question is to Barbara. You kind of have traveled a lot. What does meeting people mean to you, and how does circling add value to this journey?
Yes, thank you, Shashin. That's same from me. Thank you for being here, and a warm welcome from Belgium. So yeah, traveling and meeting people has always been a passion of mine, seeing the world, learning from different cultures, having interesting discussions. And I have to say that it got really interesting for me when my traveling was linked to tabling and circling. because, as you said, it adds value, and it adds value because it has an extra dimension. You know, we are not just a volunteering organization. We are not just another service club. No, we are really a family. We are the RT family. And that, I think, makes us unique and adds value for all of our circlers and tablers. In my opinion, it definitely adds that extra dimension and value for me. And that is because I think you travel within a community, right? We are people with the same mindset. I always say we have the same blood running through our veins. We have the same ideas about many items that touch our daily lives. And this is what connects us. And I obtain a lot of value by just listening to our tablers and our circlers, by talking to each other, really by connecting and networking with each other. So just to summarize, I think for me, the value I get from traveling internationally is twofold. So you have the value that can be used for your local table or circle, because by traveling and talking to people, you get new ideas for events or fundraising, for meetings, or how to grow your table or circler. Or maybe you will have a certain issue within your club, and other tablers and circles can shine a new light on how to solve this issue maybe. So that's one side. And then the second side for me is it also adds value for yourself. You broaden your horizon, you move your boundaries, you know, because you have to take that step, right? You have to go to the event. Maybe it's an AGM of more than 400 people, or it's a Euro meeting of maybe only 30 people, but you have to make that first step. And afterwards, everything goes by itself. And this could be out of your comfort zone, but you get so much in return. Lots of new friendships, an extra family, self-enrichment, happiness, a bigger network, and so on. So just do it, I would say.
So I think the first step is the key to moving to that, and that takes you places. It improves your horizon in tabling, circling, and as well as personal development. So I think that's a big take, to all of us. My next question is to Romain. Romain, what do you think? You've been traveling in tabling, but I'm sure before tabling also you would be traveling a lot. How different do you think is traveling within tabling and circling, and traveling as an individual traveler?
Yeah, thank you, Sachin, again. Warm welcome also for friends. And as you said, I love traveling. I love traveling before tabling. And but what I discovered when I experienced traveling internationally with table is like you can have a local point of view of a situation. And I really often talk about that cool story, because I was in Cyprus. It was 2 years ago now, and I was there just with friends, 2 friends of mine who are not tablers at all. And I just sent messages to some guys from Cyprus, and they said, okay, if you want to join, not just for a drink, it's okay, but we are going to do a picnic in a special place, special beach, just you have to follow us. And for me, we said, okay, like, as the guys, they say, yes, we have to go. So we decided to go with kids and everything, but it was just a rental car. And we start to drive in, at first it was a normal road. And thereafter it began to get tough with lots of bump and stuff like this. And as a normal guy, you just drive like this for 10, maybe 20 minutes if you're brave. But when you follow someone who knows the path, it's always better. So we followed the guy for 1 hour of bumping and really driving slowly. And finally, we arrived in a perfect beach where the turtle just came for having their babies and their eggs. And it was perfect with a really beautiful sunset. And we have a perfect picnic there. And yeah, that's something really special. And you can experience only with local guys. So traveling with tablers or with circlers is always having a local point of view on the place, a city or something. and you will have really, really great experience about that.
Well, I think that's really great to know that, you are going to meet someone that, you've hardly met in the past, and you live with that person like you are from that city. So I think tabling is one of the few places where that can really happen. And I'm sure more people, after listening to you, are going to do this when they travel to other countries, or also will plan to do that. Yes, can I listen this from Abby? Being from India, I know going to Europe is, always a lot for someone going in from Asia. We have to go in through a lot of visa processes, reaching there, manage our times. We take a break for 10, 15 days. So, and you've done that so much of travel to so many AGMs. You just came back last week, from attending AGMs in Europe. So how do you think from an Asian point of view was traveling to you?
Thank you, Sachin. That's a very opt question, especially for South Asians. Yes, traveling 16 hours is a tedious task, and that also 2 times. And especially when your return flights are always jinxed. I've missed my flights. I've been delayed and all. But yes, traveling from South Asia is a tricky affair, especially when the perception of Asian countries, be it tabling or be it tourism life, is absolutely different than from the perception of a West. So yes, it is difficult at times, but it is doable just because it's tabling. And we live in joint families. We have different cultures. We have different food habits. Our time management is very different. We have an absolutely contrast culture. And then traveling from one part of the world to another part of the world where everything for you is different is an amazing experience, which I think only tabling can give you. But the best is you are always welcomed, you're always invited, you're always hosted with warm hands and a warm welcome. So that's one thing. Yes, no matter wherever you travel from, no matter where you travel to, but the warmth of the hosting part is always the same, is always very warm. And yes, it is difficult, but traveling knows no boundary. Yes, Sachin.
That's like a wonderful statement to make. Tabling knows no boundary, and it is absolutely this cocoon that many of us have broken, and we experience that part of life. So kudos to you that you've been able to do this, and I'm sure a lot will be inspired. Especially from South Asia, traveling to other countries, and people from there coming here and experiencing this part of tabling. We all do a lot of tabling in our own cities, in our own area, country. But when we see different cultures, that treasure is something we don't forget ever. So thanks a lot, Abby, for sharing this. My next question, is to Barbara. When we normally see you traveling, it's always with 2 or 3 circlers. That's like a difficult part to motivate others as well to travel many a times. There are a lot of people who travel in groups, but we've seen you doing that. Could you share us your magic idea on how that happens?
Sure. So yeah, as you said, I always try to motivate circles and tablers to travel just by talking to them, by sharing experiences. And I also try to tell them, look, if you want to travel, just travel with 2 or more people. You can also come along with me. Of course, that's at your own risk. I also try to convince them by saying, just do it one time, come with me or with someone else who has the experience. Go one time and you will see, you will love this and you will get the traveling bug really fast. Why do I say with 2 people, travel with 2 or maybe more? Because, it's always more fun to take planes or trains or cars with 2 instead of just being alone. of course, you can do it alone, but running to a plane because you didn't hear the last call with at least two is more supportive than alone, and you can have a good laugh afterwards together. And often when you are traveling, you know, depending on where you go or which event, it could very well be that along the way you meet some circlers or tablers because you're going to the same event. Maybe you were not always aware they were also taking this plane or the same train. So it's always fun to meet some tablers and circlers on the way. And that's really the magic of it all. I think, you know, you are never really alone, are you? Okay, just for example, I took Christine with me, which is a circler of my club. I had to use some convincing to get her out of her comfort zone. So we went to the AGM of GBNI. We were only two. So the first night, which was the welcome party, I took her by the hand. I introduced her to some tablers, to some circlers, as it was a side-by-side event. I gave her some explanations on how these nights or on the program. And I think this took about 1 or 2 hours, and then I magically disappear for at least 30 minutes. So I say, I have to go to the toilet, see you later, and then I disappear. And I threw her a bit in the deep, and I knew she was afraid of that. But I knew for sure she would never be alone, and I knew it would be good for her to step outside of that comfort zone. And of course, I'm behind the corner, you know, I keep always an eye on my circlers. And after a couple of minutes, a tabler and a circle came up to her, introduced him and herself to her, and she took off. As said, I checked upon her a couple of times, but she was doing great, and that made me so proud. And the good thing is that afterwards I heard her talking to other circlers and hence motivating them to go out and try some international circling events. And I want to share with you what she said. I wrote it down. So she said, you are never alone. The circlers and tablers are there for you. They see you standing alone, come over and introduce themselves. I was amazed by the love and friendship they share. You are welcomed with open arms and everyone is very supportive. This was really a great experience. The interactions are more intense as you only have that specific weekend dedicated to tabling and circling. Friendships are really built with speed of light. And I think that summarizes it all. And for sure, a new traveling circler is born, and I'm so very proud of her. So as said before, just if you are dreaming of it, it's now you have to do it. It's between your 30s and 40s. You only have a limited amount of time. So if you dream it, just do it.
I think if someone asked me an example to show walk the talk, I can put up this page. So, I mean, yes, definitely the onus is on the person to agree to travel, but also on the onus people traveling is to take people along and motivate more people as you go along, because it really changes the perspective of the person, the way you look at things, the way, you know, you conduct yourself, and the way you understand different cultures. So, you know, a great going, Barbara. And I think that is a really amazing initiative, and you should continue to do that so that it has a ripple effect on hundreds of more circlers who would start traveling.
I hope so.
Yes. Well, you know, all of us, all our lives came to quite a standstill, you know, during the COVID times. And you know, a lot of us were on Zoom, online, trying to do a lot of work around the community and things like that. But, you know, we were little fearing to travel, meet people and all that. I want to hear from Susie. I just heard that, you know, she did some wonders during the COVID times when it came to circling. Can we hear some experience from you?
Right, of course. I was the national president of Ladies Circler Austria in 2020, the year that COVID started. And just to put it in figures and sum it up, I attended more than 80 online meetings. And yes, on the one hand, there are also good points with it because everyone could participate, no matter from where, no matter in what situation. But I could hardly stand that. And I was really waiting to be the first lockdown to end. And when it was possible to travel again and meet each other again, because traveling is not always just an international travel. Sometimes it's just a circle or the table on the next door. And I tried to do my very best during the lockdowns, traveling in my own country. During the break, I managed to visit all of the circles in Austria for face-to-face chats, and just that was an amazing feeling. After the lockdown, everything was crazy, everything was weird, and we came back to a feeling that we knew. And what happened, I think you all in that round know that, but some of the Facebook listeners maybe too. Whenever you meet a circler or a tabler, you feel immediately connected. You're sharing the same values, the same goals, and that's an amazing feeling. And that was what I missed during the lockdown, but we finally found that back.
Oh, I think that was, one of the best uses that you could do in a lockdown. And I know the online meetings at that time. I was also the National Secretary of RT India, and I know what it was, day and night doing the online meetings. But with all that, taking that time out, going out and meeting people, I think that was amazing. It really proves that statement that we have no boundaries, and the kind of trust. I mean, imagine at that time, you won't also, take the risk, or your friends as well. So that is a bond that you share as tablers and circlers. And that really made us do that. My question connected to that is to Romain. We host a lot of tablers, circlers when they're traveling to our cities. And how do you think is that experience of hosting people that you hardly know?
Yes. First of all, I think it's something really humbling when you get hosted for the first time, because you travel and someone you probably never have met before just invite you to get hosted by him in his place, and you experience that as a young tabler, and finally you said, okay, it's something amazing, I'm part of the family, so I want to pay it back, and I also want to invite a lot of people to come in my place. And so it's not like this, I'm living in the north part of France between Paris and Belgium, so it's not close to Paris, it's like 1 hour driving. But sometimes on social media, or even with the app or something, I get a message, okay, I'm going in Paris, or I'm going for a tour with family. Is someone who can host me? And it's always a pleasure to host. Now in our house, we've got a special bedroom for the guests, and there's always a place for circlers and tablers who want to visit us. And so it's something really, really good, because we want them to know the French way of living, and so they can experience food and also our mindset. They live with us, with the kids and family time and stuff. And it's something really, really great. We already hosted people from Denmark, Belgium, Luxembourg, Germany, even from France for sure. And it's always something good, but it starts with getting hosted once, and thereafter you just want to do the same for other people.
Wow, I mean, friendship is always about, having a big heart and welcoming people with open hands. So, absolutely stunning, bro. As you said that you have a room and always welcome to tablers, and so many people have stayed with you. So I think that's something that all of us should experience and also share when people travel to us. Staying in a hotel is quite common. We would just go and do it. But staying in someone's house, understanding family, and sharing that experience is a treasure. So thank you for sharing that, Romain. I would like to know from Abby. I mean, I just saw that you attended so many different kind of events in tabling internationally, like some cycling tours and things like that. Could you share some experiences on the different type of events that you attended, hosted by various countries?
Sachin, I was inducted in 2008, and I was a prospect for 1 year. And the tablers that time never believed in me, as in they thought that I'm not a worthy tabler. I cannot be a good tabler. And when I was inducted, I proved them right. Yes, I'm not worthy enough. But in 2015, I remember I read a flyer about the Indo-Dutch cycle tour. And again, as I said, I was not active in tabling. I never used to attend meetings. I was just like enjoying my time in and off tabling. 2015, I heard about the cycle tour. That was the Indo-Dutch cycle tour. And I remember there were only 20 seats available. And this tour was only catered for Indian tablers. I was interested, and that fortunately was my first experience to Western Europe. And yes, I took it. My first day, I landed in Amsterdam, and I remember after having the brownie, I cannot recall anything beyond it. But the next day, I was home hosted, and that is where the experience of international tabling started. So Indo-Dutch cycle tour is one thing which since then I have never missed, because that is where I started to learn about tabling, to cherish tabling, to know the importance and to respect tabling. When I came back after the Indo-Dutch, I was active in my own local club. I was active in the area. I started taking posts. I started telling my fellow friends that this is what I've experienced, and you all should not be deprived of it. Take any opportunity that is possible. There are a lot of events that happen around. You need to get in touch with the IROs. You need to get in touch with your presidents, or probably your people who have already traveled abroad for tabling. Get in touch with them. Find out about local events, just not AGMs or just not a specific event. You make your own event. Take 10, 20 guys, like the way I said I did for the Sri Lankan tour. So you can create your event. You can know about the events. Your IROs, local IROs, your friends who have traveled, your presidents can help you out in it. There are events, there are AGMs like ARTSA, which is just not AGM. It is a bonding affair. It is where people give their hearts out, give their homes out, give their love out to other tablers, other circlers. Again, I'm missing out on circlers. Yes, amazing host. But the best is when you get home hosted in any of these events, that steals the limelight. And that is where you actually interact with the local people, with the local tabler, and make new bondings. So irrespective of whatever events you do it with your fullest, and do it with the mindset that, yes, I'm going to enjoy it. And yes, I'm going to do only tabling event. Don't just come with a criteria or preset agenda that I'm going to do only tourism, or I'm going to see the places around. Come with an agenda with exchanging cultures and knowing about your fellow tablers. So there are a lot of events. You can get in touch with the international board also. There's a travel exchange program. There's a travel bingo program. Get in touch anywhere who's there or who's traveled abroad, and they can guide you on there are series of events that you can start on with.
Exactly. That was my next question to you. You know, how easy it is for a Joe tabler. You know, you started off with that subject, but as a Joe tabler or a Joe circler, you know, I want to travel to a country. So, Abby, how do you think how easy it is, you know, just going and attending some country's AGM, or traveling with your family and just calling up someone and saying, hey, I want to come and meet you? Do you think it's that easy? Can you share some more light into that idea?
Yes, Sachin, firstly, this is a conditional question. It depends whether you're coming from South Asia, because you have to travel 16 hours. You'll obviously just not attend the event and come back. So it has to be a week or 2 weeks affair. You probably might take your family along, just because you will be traveling once or twice a year only. If it's on the European sector, then a Joe tabler can just drive down to a next country, attend the event, come back, or they have a lot of exchange agreements. In India, we have a very, very serious tabling affair. When we think about traveling, we have to pre-plan. It's about getting your visa sorted, getting your ticket sorted, and then also you don't know whether you can travel or not. So pre-planning is not very easy affair. Events like AGMs and a lot of other events, which you can travel in groups. But if you are already traveling, for example, if you're traveling for your business or you're traveling for a vacation with your family, you can just get in touch with a local tabler there. you can contact your IRO and he can get you referred or get you connected to the local tabler there or to a local IRO there. He might start it. But to start traveling, you should step out and do one home hosting at least. And that is where you'll get the real connection, real bonding. These events will look the same all over the world, no matter which AGM you attend, no matter whichever event you attend. But it all looks the same. You're talking in the group, you're interacting in the group, you're exchanging pins. Only when you get home hosted, you realize the difference between the two culture. That is where you start to understand why these people are different, or why am I different than them, and what is that I'm missing here in this particular country which I've visited. So for the Joe Tabler, you should start understanding which all events are there, plan a little ahead, try to get home hosted, try to get in touch with the people who have already traveled, or your IROs will get you connected. If you are a little shy one, then start with the exchanging pins, call the tablers to a coffee shop, exchange a pin or exchange a beer, or just start with a small conversation, then eventually build up. That is how I build up, and that is what I recommend to everyone.
I think Nadine also can share us, some more value to this discussion.
Yeah, thank you, Sachin. I mean, stemming from what Abby said, there are heaps of tools out there for newer tablers and circlers to know what's going on in terms of events. So we have Tabler World and Circler World, which is very frequently updated on what events are happening around the world, whether it may be an RTI event or an LCI event, or whether it's a national AGM or a numbers meeting. That is a great source of information, as well as the Tabler World app. I mean, it's a fantastic tool if you really want to interact without having to go through, you see, okay, for example, you hear about Barbara, you had to go through Facebook, type her name in, and then send her a message. You don't have to go through all that trouble when you have the app in the hand. And I'm glad to say almost all the associations in the RT world are on board, and I know RT India is coming on board in July, I believe. So with that, we only have to convince our brothers from Denmark to come on board, and then we are all set to go. So that's a fantastic tool we can use. And also, let's not forget that we are not a 30,000 member organization. We are a 100,000 plus member organization with RT family.
Yes.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be a tabler who hosts you or who gives you directions. It could be a circle, it could be a member from Tangent, Agora, 41, because we are 100,000 plus members strong, and we will only reap the benefits of it if we truly believe in it in every aspect we do, including traveling. So that's just my 2 cents, Sachin.
Thanks for that international perspective, Nadine. I'm sure Susie also, would like to add to this discussion on, how do you connect while you're traveling with, different circles across areas, countries, that way.
Exactly. It's kind of the same feeling. I prefer the social media way because almost every club or circle table has a known Facebook page, has an Instagram account, and there it is really easy to connect to each other. When I'm planning to go to an event, I just have a look at social media. Is there a club? Just drop a message on the Messenger, on Circler World in the Messenger, or maybe on WhatsApp, and bam, you're easily connected and know whom are you meeting, whom are you visiting, and it's really easy to get in touch with new friends.
Yes, I think that social media is something that all of us are, really hooked onto, and it gives an instant connect because you already have a lot of common friends and things like that. And when someone's traveling, it really makes it easier. So I think that's another perspective. And like Nadine said, a family app now is getting stronger by the day. I mean, getting contact, getting events, getting so much of information on it now will, add for us to make travel much more easier. So, with this now, I would like to come with some surprise questions for all of you. And to Abby first is that, that one experience in international travel that is really close to your heart, and you can't never forget about it. I'd like you to share that to us.
Sachin, one. I can write a book on that.
Yes,
I
but
can
one is
seriously write a
difficult.
book on
That
that,
is
and
why I said
probably
it's
it's going
quite
to
a
be
very
never ending.
difficult question.
Okay, I have attended all the Netherlands AGM. They are all close to me, but I'll tell you one experience which literally made me cry. That was probably my second international trip to South Africa, and I was called by one of my twin table that they are ready to host me for 21 days before the ATSA, and it's going to be home hosting. So I opted for it, and since I just made only one trip before that, so I was not very experienced, and I remember till the time I was about to travel, they didn't tell me where I'm going, what I'm doing, what the itinerary is, and where all I'm going to stay, what I'm going to do. Nothing. I just had my tickets and my visa, and that was it. I was shit scared. I'm very serious. I was clueless what I'm going to do.
Abby, I think a small network glitch.
I think he's reminiscing the fear he had to go through of being that young and that unprepared, and going on his second trip, and hopefully some wonderful thing came out of it. I think that thought itself still petrifies him. So we can probably move on to the next one and then probably catch up
Yes,
with
yes.
that.
Yes, my next question is to Barbara. We call ourselves, as a family organization. And we always believed in the culture of taking our families along where we are traveling. Like we see a live example on the screen, Susie was, child of tabler and circler, and she grew with that idea. How important do you think in today's world is, having children travel with us, attending tabling, circling events? What's your view on that?
Yes, indeed. It's very nice to see that Susie is already a third generation. I know some circlers that are second and third generation. So yes, I think it's very important to involve our children. They are our future circlers and tablers. So I think it's very important to get them involved at a very young age, I would say, in what we do within tabling and circling. So they get the spirit of friendship and service through the RT family. They also learn that they were born into a better environment than some other children, and they learn how to do good for others, but having fun at the same time, I would say. And I think it's beneficial, as I said before, to start with this from a very young age. I think you see tablers and circlers taking their children to events more and more nowadays. I'm still quite new to to going to AGMs and etc. But I've seen the ones that I did, and on several occasions that tablers and circlers are taking their children. I was at the AGM in Austria, Germany, and GBNI. I saw children. You see them popping up during meetings and at welcome parties, which maybe for some tablers or circlers is a bit strange. But as we said before, and you heard it through all of the panel members, we are one big family, and no family is complete without its children. What I think is really lovely as well is you see those little circles and tablers collecting pins, and they are so proud when they get those. They have their own lanyards. So I really would encourage our tablers and our circles to involve them in their, not only in the local, but if they travel and take them along, if you would do a meeting abroad, take them along. Oh yeah, you have so many events where you could involve them, RT or LC family weekends, Euro meetings. I would say shape those little tablers and circlers, because they are our future, are they not?
Absolutely. I love that statement. What is, family without children? So I think that means the whole thing that you try to say. Really very important. And I think children should be a part of all the activities that we do. And we also do a lot of community service, a lot of social work as well in tabling in many countries. And when you take children to projects, to orphanages, donating a lot of things to the underprivileged schools, and that inculcates a lot of value system in them from their childhood.
Yes,
So,
Very
socializing and also adding all this to that, we make them better human beings as well. So thanks a lot, Barbara, for sharing this. And I would now request Abby to join in. He, some technical glitch at his end. And I just request Abby to join in now. In sec, let me just, yes.
Sorry, Sachin, it's bad weather outside. So yes, continuing from where I left, I guess that was South Africa, and I was hosted at 16 different places and 16 different homes. And every time I used to travel, the next morning when I used to leave the home and go to my next host, we almost were in tears, because we bonded so well in just one day that it was very difficult to part and go to a different host. But when the ARTSA started, I have almost been hosted 16 days, 16 different places. When the ARTSA started, all of my hosts were there. And I remember very well, once when the COB was done, once when the gala was over, in the party time, these guys, without my knowledge, they got a 16 by 3 feet banner, and everybody there who were there in the ARTSA team signed it for me. And they called me on the stadium, they called me on the stage, and they gave it to me in front of everyone. That took my heart. And it was just 16 days that I've traveled them, and only once, as in one night with in each home. Imagine, that was a connection that was a love that I've got. That was a connection that I've made. So this is something I have stored, that banner with me, and I whoever visit at my home, I proudly tell it to them, see, this is what I earned. In spite, I didn't do anything. So yes, that was a touchy moment, and that probably I'll never forget. And thanks to tabling.
Wow, I think that's a real experience of 16 days. I mean, amazing. Great to know that, Abby. Next to go on this, can we have Romain to share his experience?
Sure. Barbara was talking just before about the family, and one of my favorite memories is with my kids. They actually are 7.5 and 6. And we're not traveling every time with them. I'm traveling a lot with my wife, but with school and stuff, it's not always easy to bring the kids. Nevertheless, when they come with us, and when they just discover what it is to tabling and to experience that way, one of my most cherishful memories is like they come back home and said, "Daddy, we also want to learn English." And it's not really usual for French kids to learn English, So they said, "We want to learn English because we also want to have friends all over the world like you, Dad." So we are really happy when we honor someone, and I know that for them, it's something really good in their life, and this is because of tabling and circling. So that's one of my favorite memories.
Wow, I mean, in France, children saying that we want to learn English. I think that's the real icing on the cake, and that has to be a wonderful experience for you as well to hear that musical words. So, well, can I now request, let me add in Susie to share her most unforgettable experience.
Sure. And I feel like Abby, I should pick one. So many events come into my mind. My first traveling internationally, the LCI 60th anniversary in Rotterdam, my first numbers meeting, a sailing event, so many things. But to be honest, these are all not the lifetime travel moments I feel when I'm just thinking about it. It was my first contact with an international lady that still touched my heart, and it was a so-called blind date because I didn't know her before. She just dropped me a message and said, "Hey, I'm coming to your hometown. I'm spending some time, and what's up? Are you free?" And yeah, we spent some time, we did some sightseeing, and yeah, shortly after that, we had really deep conversations, even though we didn't know each other before. And that was old friends meet for the first time at its best. So I think that's my really recommendation: travel as much as possible. But if it's not possible for you to travel for any reason, let the travelers visit you. Spend some time, make friends for a lifetime. That's, I think, the most important thing.
Yes, I agree with you. Anything that comes as a surprise in life always leaves that mark, forever. So, I mean, that's why we see so many people being hosted by you. And like you just told me the other day that last weekend also you were hosting some tablers and circlers at your place. So I think that's something that really makes you very passionate about the movement.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Susie, for sharing this. And now can I request Barbara to share her most remembered experience?
Yeah, well, as Susie said, there are so many, but I think just I want to take one of the examples of the home hosting as well, because for me, this was quite a new topic, let's say, in my life. So I was actually traveling with my husband in Sweden not that long ago, and we were traveling from south to mid Sweden, and we were looking for a place to stop to have lunch. And so I was looking on the map and I said, okay, Jönköping or Jönköping, it's a very difficult name to pronounce, was in the middle. I was like, why don't we stop there? We have some nice lunch and then we can move to the national park we were driving to. And he said, yeah, fine. So we had a nice lunch and we were doing a walk alongside the very nice lake you can visit there. And we were talking about Lady Circle, and he was asking me, your international president, was she not from one of the Scandinavian countries? I was, yeah, she's from Sweden. And he was like, she's from Sweden, and from where is she? And I was like, yeah, I actually don't know. And I said, but we have our wonderful tool, Circle World. So I went on to Circle World, and I said to him, okay, you will not believe this. And he actually told me afterwards, if you tell this story, nobody will believe you. And she was from Jönköping. So I was like, okay, yeah, she's from the city we're in now. So maybe I'll send her a message, or what do we want to do? He said, yeah, why not send her a message? Maybe they're at home. And so I sent her a message, not knowing her very well at the time. They were not at home, but they would be at home 4 hours later. So we stayed at her place. We talked until 2 or 3 in the morning about stabling and Lady Circle. We could stay at their place, which was also a very nice welcome because we were camping out, so it was nice to have a really good shower and a nice warm bed as well. So yeah, and from this day on, I know what home hosting really is about, and since then it was only last summer we did this. So since then I home hosted 4 or 5 people as well, and as explained by our other panelists, it's really amazing the friendship you make there, the bond you have doing the home hosting. Yeah, it's really wonderful. And so this was one of my most recent experiences that I would love to share with you. Voila. You're on mute, Sachin.
I think, this was something written as destiny, that so much of coincidence, and you were able to meet someone right in that city. So
Mhm.
that's about it. And like Nadine said, you also said Circular World, Tableau World are one of the best creations that international tabling has created. So, friends, this series of Grow Your Table, where we had 4 talk shows, ends with this wonderful talk show that we had today. And I would now request Nadine to share some important information on international tabling and give us the closing remarks. From my side, thank you to all the 4 of you and to Nadine for joining in from the RTI board, and also Nala for making this really successful one. We can see to all the viewers who are live on Facebook, are really showering their likes and comments. And also this will remain live. So you can also, saved on the Facebook page, and you can watch it at your convenience. So thanks a lot, friends. And over to you, Nadine.
Thank you, Sachin. First of all, thank you for thank you, Sachin, for putting this show together. Like you always do. Thank you very much for that, and a very big thank you from my end on behalf of the RT International Board to all the 4 panelists, Susie, Barbara, Romain, and last but not least, Abby. I mean, you guys have been sharing some really inspirational stories. A lot of what we do is all about storytelling, right? I mean, some of the stuff which we learned along the way is through stories of someone, and we should keep on doing this so that the next generation will keep on continuing the great work which has happened many, many years ago as well. And I would be failing in my duty if I don't invite everyone to attend the Art International World Meeting in Cape Town in September 6th onwards. And I know Nala will be there. And of course, the Ladies Circle International AGM is happening in Jaipur, India, in the month of August. So both of them are going to be phenomenal events. 2 very different cultures, 2 very different parts of the world, but you will have the same love, warmth, and hospitality in both the locations. So please feel free to reach out to me, any of the panelists here, with their permission, of course, to talk more about the same thing, or to talk more about the new upcoming events. And I think even if you could inspire one new tabler or a circler to start traveling after watching this show, I think we've made our objective. It's not about numbers. It's not about quantity. It's about quality. And if we have done that, I think we can be proud of ourselves. So thank you so much, everyone, and a very good night from my end. Thank you, Sachin, again, and thank you to all the panelists. See you guys later. Cheers.